Tonight's headlines are brought to you by McDonald's.
Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Sally Lemus. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. Economic data is presented to the business community. Also tonight, ports may face a financial crisis in the coming year. And a local attorney is charged in federal court. In sports, a Japanese-inspired race for some Saipan runners. Stay with us, we have these stories and more up next.
Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. If you feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you. Everybody feel it come around with everybody in the block. 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 Everybody round.
This burger looked at one slice of melted cheese and said, more cheese. It looked at pickles and said, also onions. It wanted to be more than hot. It wanted to be juicy. This is the Quarter Pounder with cheese. If you thought one napkin for the Quarter Pounder with cheese was enough, it's not enough.
Half a day to the Wami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Queen's Hall in Kensington Hotel was packed this morning for the first annual Economic Forum. Let's take a look. The Saipan Chamber of Commerce held its first annual Economic Forum this morning at the Queen's Hall in Kensington Hotel with over 80 people in attendance. Panelists from the Labor and Commerce Department, tourism officials, tax experts, and much more presented to the audience. CNMI economist Matt DeLon Guerrero gave an overview of the economic conditions and what we can do.
If we want to get economic growth, we need to produce more product. We produce more product by getting more airlines into the system. How do we get more airlines? That's another conversation in itself, but we should not push away from the idea of incentivizing, promoting, enticing new factories to combine all of our products that we're developing and selling it to a market. Another one is, if quality tourism is our goal, as we always talked about, we're measuring the wrong statistic. We always talk about quality over quantity, but we're only measuring quantity. And so one of the areas that we need to start looking at is average length of stay as a measurement of quality. That if people have more things to enjoy here, they will stay longer. When they stay longer, they will spend more. We need to stop talking about our tourism industry by pure numbers alone and start looking at what the average length of stay of individuals are.
The audience was a mixture of chamber members, legislators, and those in the business community.
My goal for this forum was to get a little more updated in terms of the data, throughout the past couple years, especially being hit with the different disasters that we've been hit with. And it's also nice to see that although we are slowly rebounding, we still need to work hard. And of course, with the governor's speech in the beginning and the different panelists, it just seems like we're slowly coming together. We just have to work together in terms of what direction we want to go to, what direction do we need to take, and focus on that.
It was really interesting to see the data that went as far back as in the 70s to really give us a broad picture of where we truly stand in comparison with our history. So we've experienced this before, and knowing that we've done that in the past, we can find ways to get back up to our previous, glory days of when our economy was really pumping.
I think it's very, very critical that we continue to do this, but also take what we've gotten right here and apply it. There are things that have been said today. The president of the Chamber of Commerce, Joe Guerrero, was putting out blueprints from as far back as the 80s, and all of it is relative to today. Matt Guerrero also did the same. So we are looking at things that are timeless, resources that are timeless, and the most important thing is that we just do the work. We do the work.
The keynote speaker for this year's forum is Dr. Galvin Delon Guerrero, who is the president of the Northern Marianas College. Delon Guerrero spoke on intellectual capital. We'll have more on that story later this week. Also speaking at the Economic Forum was Governor Palacios, who announces the creation of an advisory council for the business community. Governor Arnold I. Palacios announced today that he is accepting nominations and letters of interest from individuals who wish to serve on the Governor's Small Business Council. According to the governor, small businesses are the backbone of a healthy local economy. Palacios says he wants to hear the voices and recommendations of the NMI's small businesses take on issues and policies that affect them. The service to the council will be voluntary. CNMI Ports faces a number of funding challenges, which may lead to layoffs and expensive flights in the coming year. As CNMI government agencies undergo transitions under this new administration, the Federal Aviation Administration has expressed their concerns about the continuity over at the Commonwealth Ports Authority. Board Chairwoman Kimberly King-Hines states they've made certain commitments with their federal regulators regarding audits and compliance. Part of their commitment is weekly check-ins and reporting of CPA.
But it's really about CPA's ability to continue to qualify for supplemental funding, which are not entitlements, funds that are not guaranteed annually. These are fundings that we go and compete for, and there are a lot of funding that's available right now that we're going after, to include funding for the commuter road, the replacement of the rota canopy that's leaking, funding that we don't have and we don't generate ourselves.
Hines states she's assured the FAA that she will remain chairwoman until the end of her term, which is October of this year. It is unknown who will be her replacement, but Hines says there's a lot of work to be done.
The other larger issue that nobody's talking about, right, is the fact that the CPA was in austerity even before the pandemic. Right? That's a reflection of the state of the economy. When you are only operating with at 64 hours, that's all you can afford to pay your employees because of the amount of money that you're generating. And that's pre-pandemic, okay? That is an issue that people need to start talking about, because at the end of this fiscal year, we will have exhausted federal funds.
CPA normally works with a $13 million budget. Their projected revenue for last fiscal year was only $4 million.
This year's budget, FY23, is being mostly supported by ARPA funds, and we've stretched it out as much as we can. And what we're working on right now is finding avenues to be able to get additional funds, because if we don't do that, these new rates that we've adopted, which is focused on cost recovery, is going to increase the cost of doing business at CPA. Because one, we're not getting revenue from the central government, and we're not getting revenue from the arrivals.
According to Heinz, CPA has not been able to recover from the U2 devastation followed by the pandemic, which reports a major drop in arrivals and revenue for the NMI economy.
So what does this mean for CPA for next year? We're going to have to pass on whatever charges to our airline partners and the traveling public, which is going to make it very expensive to travel to the CNMI. That's going to be a challenge to the tourism industry, and we're trying to avoid that.
Heinz has recently returned from a meeting in Honolulu with federal officials, reaching out for assistance to keep operations in CPA.
That's what I'm focused on. That's the job. And I'm going to continue doing it until my term expires, and so are the board members.
A local attorney says he has entered into a payment plan on over $1 million in overdue taxes. This month, the CNMI filed a tax lien against local attorney Vincent Torres. The CNMI says Vincent Delon Guerrero Torres owes over $1.1 million, with close to $600,000 due from 2015 alone, and over $100,000 per year from 2016 to 2018. Richard Santos, the manager of the Collection and Remittance Branch, filed the lien in federal court, listing each year and the amount that is due. In an email to KSPN News, the attorney, who is the older brother of former Governor Ralph Torres, says, quote, "A few years ago, our accountant moved back to her country, so I hired an accounting firm here on Saipan to file our taxes for the year. I was informed there was a discrepancy with the filing of the previous year that needed to be amended. So being concerned with good conscience, I voluntarily gave a clear instruction to review all my financial documents from 2013 on to find out if there were any discrepancies. The accounting firm found discrepancies, so I told them to amend and file my taxes with the CNMI government immediately, even if it means I will end up paying so much more," unquote. Torres doesn't appear to dispute the amount owed. In the email to KSPN, he says, quote, "I have already entered into a payment plan with the government, which I am up to date with my payments, and I plan to pay off the entire tax within a year." When Torres entered into the payment plan is not answered in the email. Tax officials say that a lien would not have been filed without a series of notices, communications, and non-payment, and the last step would have been a final notice of intent to levy. What the tax means in terms of income is unclear, as we don't know if the income declared is NMI source income subject to a rebate or income sourced from somewhere else. All right, coming up, a new treatment center is coming soon. Stay tuned.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded, or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. A big increase in service to Guam from Japan on United Airlines. Direct service to Saipan will continue for now, but no increase in flights or changes to the time schedule.
It's effective March 26th. United says they are significantly increasing flights on all routes between Guam and Japan, including Narita, Nagoya, Kansai, and Fukuoka, to a total of 56 flights per week. United adding seats to Guam. Narita Guam route will increase from 18 flights per week to 25 flights per week, and United says they plan to operate up to 4 daily flights to meet strong passenger demand. United's Guam-based manager Sam Shinohara says the summer travel demand from Japan to Guam looks promising right now, which is positive news for the island. Flights to Saipan, however, will remain at just 3 per week. Just 438 Japanese tourists came to Saipan in January. That's down from 700 in December. Shinohara added that United will be celebrating 55 years as Guam's hometown airline in 2023, and they understand how increasing capacity between Japan and Guam is vital to Guam's tourism industry. United also announced that Japan will launch 2 new trans-Pacific flights and increase frequency to a total of 10 daily flights. Narita to San Francisco, Newark, Denver, and Houston will operate daily. Haneda to San Francisco, Chicago, Newark, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C. will also operate daily. And Osaka to San Francisco will operate 3 times per week.
A new recovery and treatment center is underway. It's called Second Wind, a nonprofit organization founded by Grace Sablon.
So it is a drug and alcohol treatment center. It's an outpatient. We provide different levels of drug and alcohol treatment, whether it be intensive outpatient or your regular outpatient services based off of assessment, right? Anybody that's, let's say, maybe suffering from addiction, whether it be substance abuse or maybe they have a mental health concern, right? They've been diagnosed with some disorders, whether it be schizophrenia, whether it be bipolar, or even your day-to-day challenges of a student, maybe ADHD, things like that. So we work on the level of substance abuse and mental health.
Second Wind will work alongside 2 organizations, Women's Destiny and Nyanimu, who will provide services catering to substance abuse, mental health, homelessness, domestic violence, sexual abuse, and even law enforcement.
We do not have services for our frontliners. So we are now going to target that population to provide mental health to our law enforcement, whether it be DPS, DOC, ports, fire. So we will be providing services that are lacking on island.
Second Wind will have individuals who are in recovery give back by providing the services.
So the people that you see here, these are persons in recovery that will now be running the advocacy centers. But then clinicians will be highly credentialed. We're looking at master's level and above, PhD license, whether it be in substance abuse, whether it be in individual family marriage therapy, or whether it be mental health. So our facility, the treatment center, will be highly qualified versus our advocacy center. It's a training. So a lot of these persons in recovery are now going to be availed that opportunity to pay it forward or give back.
The center will also have a psychiatric nurse, psychologist, social workers, and a Christian counselor. Sablon will be a therapist herself.
So what pushed me to want to open up the center was I had the opportunity to work with Marianas Behavioral Health International. I was hired out of Guam and I was contracted with drug court. So as I worked with that population of individuals who suffer from addiction, there were many gaps in services that we couldn't provide. And even working for Department of Public Safety as an in-house counselor, there were so many services, again, we lacked. So that prompted me, right, in terms of, wow, our people are suffering. We can only do so much.
The center may have a soft opening this coming April once all trainings are completed. Second Wind is a recipient of the Boost program who was awarded $200,000. Additional funding for the center will come from grants and donations, according to Sablon. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We have sports up next.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Bring your friends in for the best night out at Godfather's Bar in Garabin. Sing along to your favorite hits with with live music from the Gigolos. Godfather's has daily food and drink specials, like Taco Tuesdays. The best pizza on island every day of the week. Located on Palm Street in Garabin.
Tonight's sports brought to you in part by Tan Holdings through the Tan Su Lin Foundation, making communities a better place to live.
Buenas sports fans.
For your KSPN Sports Report, we present a local favorite run in the island. 9 teams joined this year's Marianas Ekiden Relay Race, sponsored by Run Saipan at the American Memorial Park on Saturday morning. Each team consists of 4 runners that will run 5 kilometers each from AMP to the Pacific Islands Club and back. After the 4th runner finished his 5K course, the other 3 members will join and they will run the remaining 1 kilometer together all the way to the finish line. Team Better Than Coffee topped this year's race by completing the 21 kilometer in 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 36 seconds. Members of the Team Better Than Coffee are Kosuke Saito, Robert Mojica, Aaron Pamintuan, and Elizabeth Sawyer, who is also their team captain. Second place is the team of Marjorie Daria, Adam Walsh, Tara Allen, and Tiana Cabrera, also known as the Racing Matters. Their time is 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 5 seconds. And the third team to cross the finish line is the Lost in Pace team. Their team members are Sarah Ashley, Philip Santos, Rosemary Chisato, and Matthew Fearon. Their time is 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 1 second. Here are the highlights from this year's Marianas Ekiden. Run Saipan President Edward De La Cruz gives us more insights about this annual race.
So right now we had our annual Marianas Ekiden. You know how Northern Mouse Athletics, they have their annual Christmas Island relay. So that's 1 mile repeat. So we wanted to create a relay race for distance runners. So that's what we did. This is our third annual where runners break into 4 teams and they do a 5K, a 5K, a 5K, and a 6K in that order. And the special thing about this year is this year we did complete 100% random lottery. So every person that was put into a team, they didn't get to select their team. They were selected by random draw thanks to Brad Rizala. Shout out to Brad Rizala and Good Morning Marianas. Because of them, he was able to do the random raffle draw for this year. So no one can say that this race was rigged from the beginning.
He also mentions that next year's format will be different from this year.
So the format for next year's race, I'm going to say that right now so people are noticed for 1 year. So every odd year is going to be 100% raffle draw. Every even year is going to be where we're going to allow competitive format where people can compete for, we're going to be introducing trophies for next year for the team event instead of medals. So for the competitive format, I'm going to say it right now. If you want to compete in the competitive format, you need to have 2 men and 2 women to be able to eligible for the competitive format next year. We will have an open division format and we will have a youth division format for next year. But don't worry, the lottery division and non-competitive division will be open as well. So you can make a non-competitive team with anyone you want to make into it, or you can still be put into a random raffle draw and we'll work to make sure that you have a team. So that's going to be for the 2024 Marianas Ekiden. Same location, same time, same place, 5:30 start here at the Hyatt.
The cruise also thanks everyone who helped make this event possible.
And I'd just like to thank everybody that had to help and hand in this. I'd like to thank most especially Northern Mass Athletics, our volunteer Run Saipan race staff. I'd like to thank the Triathlon Association. I'd like to thank Saipan Tribune, Maris Variety, KSPN. I'd like to thank all the runners here that made this event completely possible. And just thank you to everyone's support that helped in any way in this event.
Hi, I'm Dre, one of the personal trainers here at Ghost Gym, and today I want to go over some exercises that you can easily apply into your current exercise program. Now I have here with me Vince, and he's going to be demoing some of those exercises. Now the first one today is going to be a 1-arm dumbbell row. Before I have Vince here execute a few reps, what we want to remember with virtually any exercise is your setup. If you start in a bad position, it's not going to look good and it's certainly not going to feel good. So a common mistake with here is obviously a rounded upper back, and as you can see, he's not very rigid or stable. So what we're gonna do is correct that just a little bit. So his supporting arm and his leg that's supported on the bench as well we wanna lock that in. Open up that leg a little bit to allow for a better path on that dumbbell. With the elbows coming up way too high, you can see the shoulders riding forward, and that's not what we want. So ideally, what you wanna think about is pulling with your elbows and stopping right at the midline of your body. So in this position right here, you can feel his entire upper back along with his core.
And for the KSPN weather report, mostly cloudy with scattered showers, east-northeast wind 18 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with scattered showers, east-northeast wind 16 to 20 miles per hour, high 84, low 75. Humidity at 93%. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with isolated showers, east-northeast wind 15 to 20 miles per hour, high 85, low 74. High risk of rip current statement. Dangerous rip currents on the east-facing reefs of the Marianas through Friday afternoon. Rip currents can sweep even the best swimmers away from shore into deeper water. In the marine forecast, combined seas of 7 to 8 feet will increase to between 9 and 11 feet by Thursday as incoming north swell interacts with a strengthening trade swell. Northeast to east wind 22 to 25 knots, wind waves 4 to 5 feet, east swell 5 to 7 feet. Small craft advisory remains in effect on the Marianas coastal waters from 7 a.m. this morning to 4 p.m. Friday. Northeast to east winds 20 to 25 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet expected starting Thursday. These conditions will be hazardous to small craft. The sunrise will be at 6:38 a.m., high tide at 9:06 p.m., low tide 3:39 p.m., and the sunset 6:22 p.m. And that wraps up your Wednesday edition for the news, sports, and weather here in the Marianas. As always, we thank you so much for watching the Channel 2 News. We hope you have a great night, and we'll see you back on Friday for more.